You publish several books that could be defined, I guess, as science fiction or as fantasy, but you're not really a science fiction fantasy publisher. How do you kind of define your relationship to the science fiction and fantasy scene in Finland?
And I tend to answer that I only publish good books. I also read some science fiction. I know there's a lot of really good writing in science fiction, and I think it gets somehow, dumped behind the genre barrier, and it doesn't reach a larger reading audience. Which is what I'd kind of like to do, is to break that barrier.
So you're saying also then that there is definitely a division in Finland between science fiction fantasy readers and mainstream literary, and if you put something under science fiction or fantasy label, it's less likely to reach that mainstream audience.
I think I could refer to your comment on the panel of crossing over, where you refer to the bookshops, and it's a practical necessity to categorize books one way or another. And in Finland, the Finnish language science fiction output has been fairly thin. I mean, and the tables aren't very interesting.
What changes, if any, have you seen in the Finnish publishing scene or Finnish readers over the last 10 years? Have there been any changes? Any ways that you've had to modify what you do publishing-wise too?
One of the changes has to do with publishing itself. If I say more than 10, say the past 16 years or so, Finland has seen a really big rise in smaller publishing houses, including ours. And what we've done is publish a really wide range of things, both academic and fiction. We've done things that have sort of forced the bigger players on the field to sharpen their act as well.
Do you think Finland is a reading culture by nature?
No, not by nature, but
but you're
culture.
It to be.
Yeah. Yes, I think, and the main reason for that is the public library system, which is pretty unique. It's well developed. It accounts for most of the books that people read. As a commercial publisher, I should wish that more people would go out and buy the books, and I do. But I do wish that the public lending system stays as it is, because there are a lot of budgetary pressures on it, and it's pretty expensive, and books tend to be the stuff that the libraries have to cut away from.
What's the most challenging part of your job, do you think?
For me, the most challenging part is marketing. Marketing, sales and marketing. It doesn't come natural to me. I think editing is pretty challenging, and it requires a lot of attention, and I have to think hard. But I don't find it that challenging because I enjoy it. I do a lot of the graphic work myself, which I think is really relaxing for someone who's trained in philosophy and trained in sort of mental activity. To do something that's concrete is really rewarding, because you can see something actually happening.
And my last question was going to be, and still is, what do you enjoy the most about the job? Is it that getting to do the graphics, or what is it? What's the most satisfying thing?
I think that the most satisfying thing is looking around, trying to find new things, trying to find new books and new authors, and then finding something that you like.
What about when you get to that? A lot of editors say they smell the books to see if they smell right.
Yeah,
Not so much, or do you
I like to hold them in my hand,
yeah.
because that's really rewarding. But it's also rewarding because it contains a little piece of dread, which is when you open it and it doesn't look exactly the way that you wanted it, or there's this mistake that you realize is there. And I think it happens almost every time. My ex-father-in-law was a building constructor, and he said that when you build a building for someone, like a school or something, whoever comes there to accept the work comes in and looks around long enough to find something that that there's something wrong, and then they found the one mistake, and then they can say, okay, this is fine, we'll take it. It's the same way with books, you have to find the mistake and to say, okay, it's real, I can have it.
As me,